Gentlemen, today we're going over the Sabre 10, aka the M110 we have at home. So let's dive on in.
Dude, what are you doing?
Doing the shooting montage, what are you talking about?
It's a DMR, you're not supposed to shoot it that fast.
No? Should we slow it down a little bit? Oh, there she is. Hey, we're gonna go up a few clicks. Eldridge, hey buddy, we need some more ammo. You see that? That was something that wasn't liking and subscribing. They were eating their coffee, drinking their beer, unaware I was lurking around the corner, and I got them. Gentlemen, there's few things I love more in life than a great comment from the comment section. So get down there, leave a comment. Your comments are a sacrifice to the algorithm gods of which you enjoy M110 at home content, because the YouTube overlords sure don't. So that interaction does help by pushing this stuff out and winning the culture war. As we get into the Sabre M110, I do want to give another disclaimer of why should you listen to me talk about this? Well, to be honest, you shouldn't. I'm a dude on the internet running around and LARPing on the flat range, having a good time. I don't think of myself as having the credentials of being a DMR authority, if that makes sense. I am just a dude who is going out here having a good time, discovering a few things. We're gonna try some stuff out, but it's more from this is definitely a novice perspective when you consider the vast quantity of knowledge that guys that have gone through schoolhouses on this stuff have. I don't have that. I took one course, I've been plinking away with this thing, trying different things out. I see the benefit of these in the civilian sector, but ultimately I am not someone that is like, I was there overseas fighting with an M110. I'm not that guy. I do talk to someone that was like that, but that is something I do want to talk about and let you know what's up. So diving into the Sabre M110, real quick, what's my relationship with Palmetto State Armory? Well, I like what PSA does a lot. I remember being at SHOT Show, seeing they had a bunch of cool projects, and they even have projects that don't stop. They are constantly coming out with new guns, one of these being an M110 at home style build. It helps get you into the ballpark of scratching that itch if you can't drop the massive amount of coin for the actual M110A. So I kind of like this for what it is so far, but my relationship, like I was saying, had a number of their guns on the channel thus far. I like what they do. I have an affiliate link with them, and they are the ammo sponsor of the channel. Wow, what a plug. So you have to understand that though I like them a lot, we can still be critical of certain things, which we will be in the video. So real quick, we're gonna do some testing from 100 yards. This is after already burning it down quite a bit. Keep that in mind. This isn't a fresh start of the day. We'll do a slow 5-shot grouping on each of the circles dots I have marked. So the first up is Winchester PowerPoint 129 grain. Probably gonna be a weird zero because I zeroed on AAC 140 grain, but nonetheless, we shall commence. We'll go for the head box on this guy. Okay, I can see that grouping. It does not look great. We have some S&B. Cerakote, 140 grain. That's probably how you say it, right, Colton?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, S&B. I go top left shoulder. And she didn't lock back all the way. It could be a gas setting thing. Next, while I load up, we have some Sig Sauer, 140 grain OTM, open tip mash. The Marksman Elite. I can see where my rounds are hitting. I was like, why am I shooting so low? And I think during all the goofy shooting montage, my top turret got knobbed over and corrected it. So hopefully during this portion, all my hits are on the dots where they're supposed to be. Incredible admin moment. All right, top right shoulder. Round's complete. Let her chill out. We have Sig Sauer Elite Series copper. You're probably wondering, why is the ammo selection so wild? Why is it so random? Well, I was doing admin things in the office and I had to send Colton, who's behind the camera, out to grab some ammo, and he just, he went buck wild with the credit card and got whatever he felt like. And I think it's a good selection, Colton. I think it's a good selection. Don't let anyone in the comments tell you it's not. We'll go bottom left. I'm a sniper. Last series of rounds, we're doing the 140 grain boat tail hollow points from, you guessed it, the ammo sponsor, AAC. Wow, what a plug, what a plug. This guy really knows how to YouTube. It's like he's done this before. Nobody plugs on YouTube better than I do, nobody. I walked up and I said, wow, this admin guy can okay, I'm sorry, I'll shoot. I was expecting the bolt to lock to the rear, but I realized I just put in a fresh mag with like 25 rounds. My bad, what an idiot. Okay, let's go check out the results, the administrative outcomes. Wait, no, I messed it up. You may be wondering.
Hey, admin, why is your target so short? What, are you shooting midgets or something?
First off, that's not the nice word anymore.
You better watch your microaggressions, bro.
Second off, don't you ever think you may be fighting against someone that's crouching? Look at my crouching stance right now.
Look what I can do!
Look how tall I am compared to the dummy. Come on. All right, so you can see my error of my ways with my reference point, what I was shooting at, and then I finally realized my dope was off. That one's kind of embarrassing. So we have the deer, I think it was the soft point ones. What was the grainage? Rewind it. What was the grainage? Deer rounds. Then we have the S and B. What a bad at sign. SIG 140, okay. And we have the SIG 120. That's not bad. Looks like I stacked two. Not so bad. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the 140 grain AAC. Now you may be wondering, hey, did he shoot better on purpose with the AAC ammo because it's the ammo sponsor of the channel? Perhaps. But no, you gotta understand with the groupings on this, the limiting factor could also, of course, be myself, the shooter, because I am the problem. What we can see here are some pretty solid groupings with the grainage that it was zeroed on. So everything's looking like it's pretty good one MOA group. So I wanted to show this off, the groupings in a more slow-paced, zeroed fashion that you would typically see from a YouTube video. Next up, what I wanna do is a mag dump grouping test because people on the Patreon asked for this. We'll dump 3 rounds of AAC 140 grain, and then in a 25 round mag, we're gonna have stacked 5 of the different calibers, and we'll do a rapid grouping test that way. As fast and accurate, of course, as I can. All right, now, what we're gonna do, similar test. Going into it, racing against the sun yet again. Up first, we have the deer hunting rounds. I believe they're the 128 grains. Going for the headshot. All right, that should be 5. Next up, the S&B. Next up, we got the SIG 140 grain. SIG 120 copper. AAC 140. Well, that completes the test. Let's go check out the outcomes, the administrative All right, so we have deer round, S&B, SIG 140, SIG 120, and then, wait a second, what is he drawing? AAC 124 grain. So, a few things going on that could be happening. S&B did not do so hot. The 140 grain S&B, I was aiming for this little dot and it sending them way left. I was checking my turrets. They were all where they should be. Everything was going more to the left. So to my gun guys out there that are smarter than myself, what does that mean? The SIG 140 grains seem to have done the best. Now, I don't know if that was just my shooting combined with the ammo, so that is interesting to see. The next best grouping I would say would be the Winchester 128 grain. Worst would be the 140 grain S&B, and then of course the AAC 140 grain. I had this flyer over here.
Oh, that little guy. I wouldn't worry about that little guy.
And then decent string, and then another flyer, and then the 120 grain. So those are the results. Essentially what I wanted to do, I knocked out 2 birds with 1 stone in the process of filming with this gun. What I did was I took it to a scoped carbine course that was hosted by Sidewinder Concepts, who is a former US Army sniper. I wanted to take this thing and put it through its paces while also learning to enhance my marksmanship skills, because Lord knows I need all the help I can get. So I did exactly that, and in the video you're going to see my interview and footage from that class, and it was a good time. Now, during that class though, there was an issue that arose with the gun. Essentially what ended up happening is we threw a can on the gun, and it would not run. It would not chamber the rounds. There was something going on where it was just doing really bad. I've had a week of anything that can go wrong, can go wrong, will go wrong. So I had to essentially ditch the can. I ran it throughout the entire course unsuppressed. Sorry to my neighbors who had suppressors. After the class, I sent it off to PSA to get checked out. And upon further inspection, PSA noticed there was some things wrong with it. They got it fixed up and they got it sent back out to me. So far now it's running like a sewing machine. It's doing A-okay, and I think it's on the up and up. But that has been a trend from what I've been seeing of other reviewers having issues with their M110 at home, or the Sabre M110.
Left 1.4.
2.4.
Impact.
Beautiful.
That was a good hit too.
So what we're doing right now, we've done an entire class with Sidewinder Concepts, and we're now getting to enjoy the fruits of our labor. We're gonna be putting the 6.5 Sabre 10 through its paces. We've been off to a rough start, I will say, with it. I mean, during the talking portion, and I've gone over it by now, but hopefully she'll do a little bit better this time.
Again. Again. Again.
Nice.
Look at that groove. Impact.
So I'm out here with Adrian of Sidewinder Concepts. Now Adrian, he is a, you would say, prior military guy, a professional shooting long distances. And he's teaching us this course to shoot long distances because, as I explained earlier, I'm an idiot when it comes to it, so I need to get the education. Now, you were saying that you had, what, 10 years of experience running?
Nearly a decade
M110?
running the M110 SAS. So
Now, just for my sake, initial impression, what do you think of the gun, man?
it's pretty damn similar to what we were rocking. I mean, we don't have the adjustable back here for the length of pull, so
yeah.
For some of the shorter guys, this might be a little rough. I do like that it has the adjustable gas block, and I mean, it's a definitely a good looking rifle. It shot pretty good out today too.
It was doing good. I feel like a dummy because there's no muzzle device, but that's due to the suppressor issues. It's all me. I left it back at the shop, so it's what I get for not bringing it with me. But I was enjoying running it because another reason is to me, it's like PSA is coming out with these new platforms. And to be honest, as I told my audience already, I was very unfamiliar with long distance shooting, doing any sort of DMR style work.
Right.
So why would I be the guy like to even talk about this, because this is all coming from my perspective of more so novice, and then your training today, doing the workshop and the classes, really brought out to the perspective like, oh, you can really performance enhance yourself as a rifleman, especially with a platform like this, because pretty much all the other guys, when I say pretty much, all the other guys in the class are all running 5.56. I'm the only guy running 6.5 Creedmoor.
And it was a noticeable difference as to the performance. We're working with 15+ mile-an-hour winds today. I mean, everybody had the sidebar comments of how much easier this thing was to shoot in the 6.5 Creedmoor, and it was your hit factor was damn near 95% or higher.
Yeah, once I got dialed in, especially with the spotter.
Right.
Especially with the spotter, it became super easy, like bread and butter, like just not hard whatsoever. So that was really cool to see, because to me, as a gun guy, this is just force multiplication. I like that PSA is coming out with it, and I wanted to get both your training and your opinion on something like this, because I would default to you if you were like, hey, this is cool or not, or hey, this is...
Right here is what we've been doing most of the day. At 18, 16 to 18, 23. Yeah, we just spiked to 23. So the only thing I would change on this thing, honestly, would just be the stock. I would like to have the adjustable cheek riser, and then an ability to have a length of pull adjustment, which is an easy thing to change. Other than that, honestly, I would just run it as is. It's a very familiar platform. Everybody who's either been in the military and wants to have somewhat of that clone style rifle will definitely love this particular platform, and they'll be able to perform with it easily. Earlier, when you were grouping it in, this thing was doing sub MOA pretty damn easy. Yeah. And yeah, I think this is an attainable rifle at an affordable price that can perform all the way out to 1,000 yards with ease.
Well, that's pretty cool. All right, well, I appreciate your time, man. I got to continue on with the video. So real quick, we'll go over the setup of the gun from tip to butt. Wait, no, this isn't Garand Thumb, close enough. So I have a Harris bipod. I swapped out the MAGPUL bipod. Nothing against the MAGPUL, it's just I prefer the Harris. Got a Surefire Vampire light. We have the Voodoo EOTech optic, the 3x is it the 3.5? Yeah, the 3.5 by 18. I believe it's the, oh, God, dude, I always forget which focal plane they're called. It's the one where the magnification, when you make it bigger, the reticle also gets bigger. Asterisk that in. I have an offset H1 aim point for quick LARPing and shooting. I put an actual KAC rail cover on here for the vibes. So with what the gun comes with, it's actually pretty freaking impressive. So you have this Surefire style brake. It's uneven. Oh, it's uneven. So you can see the prongs are all different heights, and that helps with that ringing sound. Otherwise it sounds like a bing. It helps mitigate that, and you don't hear it whatsoever. You have an adjustable gas block with a lower Picatinny mount option on top of it and underneath it, which is, that's kind of cool. We have a heckin' long rail. Now, you're gonna see from the other footage in this, I never expected to be using so much rail space, and I'm actually grateful for once that I have such a long, chunky rail to fit up with that heat sensory device up front on top of a long 3x18 optic. Got one. Wait, who has their white light on? Hey, why is your freaking white light on? There's a whole company of blue helmets hunting us right now. Where's your thermals? Where's your knots?
I can't afford them.
Oh, crap. Hey, what's that over there? Sorry, buddy. So as I was mentioning on the rifle rail setup, so you have a nice long top rail here with plenty of real estate. This comes in handy when you have a thermal optic such as this PARD, which is disclaimer, they're gonna be one of the sponsors of this episode. Big thank you to those guys. I like the extra option of the free market for you guys to have more thermal options out there. I think that is cool. I think that's great for the end consumer, and I really like it a lot. And I'm appreciative that they would be so generous as to sponsor an episode. You see with certain conflicts, especially looking at Ukraine, and I'm sure we're gonna see more stuff coming out of the Israel-Gaza conflict, but things that become apparent are the importance of civilian drones and the importance, I know it's a weird word to say civilian drones in a war zone, but you know what I mean, consumable drones and thermals.
The PARD FT34 is also a great 3-in-1, getting a lot done for the price point. You can have a standalone thermal imager, you can have a handheld thermal imager, or you could have a clip-on. There's also a laser rangefinder and a ballistic calculator inside the unit, which makes for not only seeing targets that you couldn't have seen before, but helping you calculate to hit the target that you may have not been able to hit before. The FT34 also has a built-in camera so you can record those sweet moments from that hunting trip. Personally, I've enjoyed my FT34 and I've enjoyed carrying it and having it on my kit as a force multiplier, and I can't wait to use it on future adventures. So a big thank you to PARD.
These shoes are explosive, they're cool. Gentlemen, you're probably wondering where I got these sick cheetahs from. I got them from Americana Pipedream Apparel, and funny enough, they are pretty comfortable and I do feel athletic. Fantastic young Zoomers getting after it in the milsurf space. They have a bunch of cool stuff on their website if you're not tracking. A lot of fun stuff. Keep track of it, because the reason I say that is a lot of times they do go out of stock pretty quick when they do find more fire bussin' items, I would say. So a big thank you to those guys. I love them a lot. Link for them in the description down below. Night vision, manuals, clothing, hats, gear, a bunch of awesome stuff. Go check them out. So the barrel's gonna be a 20-inch barrel. Comes with a really good trigger out of the box. It's a very nice trigger. It's one of their PSA like 2-stage triggers, I think it is. Very good trigger. Really enjoyable shooting experience. And we got an ambidextrous charging handle, ambidextrous safety, and then an A1 stock. So things to consider. So this is a 6.5 Creedmoor Sabre 10. Now, some guys are running into issues, and I didn't do this, but some guys are running into issues when using metal mags. Now, the guys at PSA said to not use metal mags with 6.5 Creedmoor, which is kind of a bummer because the metal mags in this gun are a heckin' vibe. They look really, really cool. But in the class, in the carbine course I was just running the P-mags, and I was still having feeding issues, the gun chambering issues, and what the issue was is that they said there was a burr in the chamber, and then they got that polished out and dialed in. Of course they should, because that is something they do. All right, gentlemen, admin from the future here. We're stacking a lot of stuff when it comes into this Sabre video. So we have the CGS Hyperion on here. This was the can that I was initially using at that scoped carbine course that was causing the gun a lot of issues. So now that I have the upper back from PSA, we have to see and do our due diligence to make sure that this thing will run. I don't know what the gas setting is on, but we'll find out. Okay. So, this is not boding well for the PSA guns. I got the upper back, we did the shooting, everything was A-okay, unsuppressed. Throwing this particular can on, this CGS Hyperion, the gun is not wanting to function. Now, keep in mind, the gun is very dirty. So there is that, but I don't think that should be affecting it to this level. I have a few theories floating around, but as it stands right now, getting it back from PSA, the gun is not wanting to function with this can on it like that. I could see where maybe that's an issue as opposed to the real KAC M110, where that suppressor also goes over a lot of that barrel. You could maybe neglect or counteract a lot of that, maybe warp that could be happening. So maybe I'm just going crazy. I was crazy once. I could see the frustration from the consumer end where you get a product and if it's not working to how it should be, of course that's going to be frustrating. And I will also give it to PSA where they usually handle those problems pretty well. They'll take care of you with the customer service. And of course, if they wouldn't, then that'd be bad on them. But so far, all the examples I've seen, they've done a good job of taking care of the problem. One thing I could critique on this, and I kind of wish that it's both a pro and a con, is that the price point. So the price point is awesome. The package itself for $1,400, you get an AR-10, and then you get 3 PMags and a POOL soft case and a MAGPUL bipod. I think that price point is both a pro because it gets you your foot in the door at a relatively low price, and I think it's also a con. Now, why is that a con? Well, I think if they up the price a bit more, it'll have that allowance of money on the back end during the logistics of getting these guns out for a really good, thorough quality inspection. Now, I'm not saying they didn't do that, but what we are seeing is a number of problems arising, not just from myself, but from other YouTubers. It could just be the first round draft. Certain gun companies have had this problem before where their product gets out there and then it runs into hiccups and they learn from it. My typical thing with PSA, if I'm being honest, is kind of like Gordon Ramsay with kids. He's always really nice to kids.
We're getting the hang of it!
Cook your f***ing dish!
For whatever reason, I'm always usually pretty nice on PSA, if I'm being honest, because I like what they do so much. They're always coming out with such cool guns. I like that about them, so it makes it really fun. But yet again, when stuff like this does happen, it has to be addressed and talked about. It's not fair, otherwise, it's too much bias, and that's not good. So for a fun demonstration, I will show you guys the 140 grain boat tail hollow point and then the 77 grain ammo, both from AAC on a AR-500 steel plate from 126 yards. Look at the friggin' turkey shoot. So one thing I'm kind of kicking myself over is going the forged route. Now, there's nothing wrong with forged guns. Typically, I prefer them on my AR platforms, but for this particular build, I think the billet would have been the way to go because it gets you into that ballpark of the M110 look even more. So I feel like a big doo-doo head for not requesting a forged. Your forged is still gonna be a-okay, right? The forged is, everyone loves their forged guns, but that one's on me, okay? So one thing I do like is there are a lot of cool factor to it, right? In a marketplace where AR-15s are typically kind of boring, unless you're going like a really fun clone route, the retro line or the more modern cloners, and that could be a whole thing. Or of course, just doing crazy fun builds. Typically, your tried and true reliable AR-15 platform, if we're being like in the weird zeitgeist realm, it's not that entertaining because it's such a reliable tool and everyone kind of has one. So they don't bring out a crowd. Now, something like this will bring out a little bit more of a crowd in the sense of consumability, right? I mean, you have a lot of guys that served in the Army. Maybe they got their hands on M110 while in service, so they have this nostalgia built into it. I think of my patrol rifle or my Glock 17, how I love those guns. This is kind of the same thing where maybe those guys, they get out, they don't have a fat wad to blow at that freaking M110, right? I wish we all did, but I wish maybe the Knights Army M110 was more affordable. But what we have is this. It kind of gets us into that realm. I also like the fact of having a large caliber gun in the arsenal if you can. And I think at the price point of $1,400, of course, with taxes, tea party time, I like the idea of the price point with the $1,400 getting you into the larger caliber game, right? Getting into that 308, that 6.5 game with a package such as this. That's more so purpose driven for accuracy at distance. Now, this isn't, of course, a sniper gun. I'm not saying I'm some PRS, precision long range sniper, but I am saying is I'm a guy, I'm a Joe. I learned the carbine course. I got, my information I needed from the training, and I was able to make impacts at 1,000 yards with the right dope in. And that was really cool. You got to think that I was never that guy to think, okay, long range is for me. And then getting my hands on this, it kind of changed my outlook a lot because now it's like, okay, I can control a much more vast space of area, especially being in Arizona, and being an Arizona man, if you look up behind me, my backdrop, it's a massively open desert, right? So if there was, say, the end of the world situation and you're fighting the people that parachuted into your country, it allows you just that much more, you know, like I said before, area control. Now, things that would change on it real quick would probably be the stock. As much as I do love the A1 stock, I wish there was more adjustments to it. And talking to Adrian, he talked about how they would swap out their stocks for, I believe, MAGPUL stocks, getting you to fine tune in that cheek placement, getting you to fine tune in the length of pull for your body style. The A1 of this does not have a lot of options. I can probably bet that maybe PSA was banking on guys, more serious guys, swapping out the stock anyway, so I do appreciate that. And of course, I would love to have my own can on here. I do have cans coming down the pipeline, but thank you NFA for long wait times. And I'd swap that out to have dedicated suppressor. Of course, not having one on there, it kind of bugs me. I wish there was a suppressor that could match the style of the KAC suppressor that they have. So those are two things I'd probably change. The adjustable gas block is pretty freaking cool. Overall, I do like the gun. I think it's cool. It had its drawbacks, getting it from the factory, running it at the course. It did both really good and it did both really bad. So there is that. Gun overall, I will say it performed how I wanted it to perform once we got it kinked out. So taken to that carbine course, it did what I wanted and it excelled at it. Especially when I was going up against my 5.56 peers, I got to see just how important a heavier caliber is in this setting. So that was really cool. And there was a lot that I learned in this episode because yet again, guys, I'm not that DMR guy. I'm not that sniper guy. I was a dude figuring it out along the way. And to be honest, I had a real blast doing it. It was really fun. So it's something of an episode like this is always from my perspective. Okay. It's always my experience. I'm not going to tell you to live your life. I'll give you advice if you want, but ultimately it's kind of like, this is what I did. This is how I did it. And of course you can always do your own thing. So hopefully this added some sort of, you know, value to your day watching it, whether you're eating your food, which is the highest honor you could give to a YouTuber. Guys, I got nothing else for you. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to like and subscribe. Leave a comment in the comment section down below. Your comments are a sacrifice to the M110 gods of reaching out and touching people and saying hi. If you want to support the channel in any way, shape, or form, Patreon is an excellent way to support the channel. Early access to videos. There's a Discord. There's always something going on in there. It's a good time, as well as merchandise. Let your mom know with your admin merch that you're on your way to finding a girlfriend, making her your wife, and reproducing a bunch of babies, which is mega based. All right, bye guys. I want to move a little bit more to the left, making me feel sketched out. You ready? Ready. Try again. One. I'm falling down this. A good job of. So this thing does. Dude, these shoes make women not know how to read. Ah, yeah, that's probably too. So what with the gun? Coming to the rear, we have. Spit on it, buddy. Gentlemen, if you want to support this, where was I going with this? There's a reason I wanted to pop up. Now we're diving into the Sabre. There's an ant on my leg. These ants out here are massive. They hurt when they bite. The big ones hurt. Overall, I really do like the gun. It has such a cool, dang it. But stuff like this is really cool. Mother fudger. I'm allowed like one cool word, okay? A lot of cool stuff. I like what's going on. Hold on, let me do that. I sound like a f***ing idiot. Is that first focal plane? Is that second focal plane? That's gotta be second focal plane. My thing is with the PSA 10, it's kind of like Gordon Ramsay when he's like being the chef guy. Get some admin swag. I can't believe I said that.
You'll see just at the left.
Because that's neutral, I like it.
Dude, what the f? Something's creepy crawling on my leg.